very excited to visit Pubnico. I love learning about the Acadian culture. Growing up in Newfoundland, it wasn't something I really knew about, but since we've moved here, it's been really interesting to hear about the history and visit the historic sites. And this one we've never been to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my history classes growing up out west had about 2 paragraphs about the Acadians, so being here and learning a lot in person is much different and much more informative.
Now, you have grown up with French immersion in school. Do you think you'll be able to apply any of that to Acadian French?
I haven't spoken in way too long. Too many cobwebs.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know enough about French language, either Quebec from France or Acadian, to know the subtle differences, but I do, that's one thing you hear, is that Acadian French is very different. I'm excited to see the museum and the village as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like a lot of the older looking communities that have that historical aesthetic to them, and I'm obsessed with museums. So.
That's true. You do love museums, and we're doing pretty good on this trip, but I love the ones that do the setups like how life used to be. Apparently that's a big thing they have here. Oh, quilts. I love quilts. Do you not love quilts? Like, homemade, handmade quilts? Nothing like it.
Bienvenue au Musée des Acadiens des Pubnico.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you come to visit us. One of the key features that we have would be this monument. The monument is for the history and what happened with the Acadians. So you'll find 11 of these throughout the country.
Oh,
there's
wow.
some here, there's some in Halifax, there's one in Halifax, there's one in Clare, there's different areas in Louisiana. So it is for the Grand Dérangement and where they went. But every place has the same information except for this side, which would be for the area that you're in.
Yes.
If you're in, this one is for Cap Sable, which means this whole area. And that's the history that we showcase at our museum, so come on in.
Perfect.
Can't wait, thank you.
The history of the area here begins in 1653. The last window, so it says Cap Sable. So the Latour, which were very well known, they were traders in the area. So they gave a lot of land to the man who's in that window, Philippe Mus d'Entremont, and his wife was Madeleine Elie. So they gave a lot of land, and on that land he had a barony, and it was called the barony of Pubnico. So Pubnico was a name for this area. It was a Mi'kmaq word meaning fishing through the hole in the ice, and then after the degradation, that name got changed to Pubnico. But there's many different spellings. You can see Pubnico, many different spellings of that word. So the people stayed on the land for over 100 years. With Philippe Mus d'Entremont, there was another couple, which was Pierre Ferrand and Mathurin Sicard. Those names didn't stay in the Cap Sable. They didn't stay in this area, so we don't follow them. So after 100 years, when the people they came 3 times to deport the people that were living here. It was only small pockets of people. It wasn't big thousands. It was the family that got deported. The way that the British saw this family is because smoke was coming from the chimney. It was wintertime.
Yep.
So that's how they were detected. So they came, and the families that were here, they went to Walpole, Massachusetts. So the middle window would be 1767 to 1900, and those were the names that came back here in the Cap Sable area. So you have the Leblanc, the Doucet, the Mus d'Entremont. So they came back. So they settled and raised their family. And now we have today's people with all the different mixtures of all the family names of the people that got married to the community. So you have the Smiths, you have the Robichaud, you have the Thompson, the Digdons, you have all of these names which are proportional to how many people we have. We have a few families
I
of
see.
Rubidai. So they didn't come after the deportation. So they came after the people lately that they got married to adulterement. The Spinneys, they came from Kittery, Maine after the deportation in Argyll. So now they're in our community. So as you see that the Claremont is a very small name compared to the name d'Entremont by proportion of how many people we have. So in the kitchen, they had the chimney that was to cook their meal or to this part, the family that lived in the house was using this as a storage, but we have this as showing the artifacts and the things that we have. The spinning wheel, the crocks, those were used a lot here in this area, as in many areas. If you're in a fishing community, then you salt your mackerel, you salt your fish or all of that, and also for your pork or the meat that you had. And of course, they would get whatever was available. So they would have rabbit, they would have what was available in this area.
Oh, look at the gears.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were inventors.
No
kidding.
kidding.
They had to be. They used everything they had. So this would be a rug that you would use all your scraps of material to do the rug. And here, this is just for you to weave,
Oh, interesting. So it's
to
like,
braid. Tighter you do, the tighter the braid will be.
right.
So
More
you can
durable.
go as the size that you wished.
And they just like sewed these scraps into like kind of ropes.
Right. And then it goes around and around. Then you sew it on. Like when you keep going.
This is where you learn to braid, babe.
Okay,
And then you can do my hair.
you can
learning.
try.
Yep. Well,
All right.
sure.
Follow the pattern. Bernice, what is the definition of a quilt? Like, in order for it to be considered a quilt, is it like you sewing together so many different layers, or?
No, it can be a quilt. We have some that are fluffy sheets and it's a quilt.
Okay.
So it's just one layer. Or here we have 3 layers. You have your lining, you have your batting, cotton, well, used cotton before now, and you have the top of, this one has already been sewn by machine, all pieced together. These are strips that you do, and then the design is called flower garden.
So these were done by machine, and now
Yeah.
we're going to hand bomb this?
Yes. Now, so that the 3 layers stay together, you have to quilt it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's already been quilted, part of it. We've stretched it, as you said. As we finish one corner, you keep rolling it underneath and then tightening it again.
Okay, so we're going to do a line. Walk me through this procedure. So, thimble?
Yeah, that's to push your needle.
Okay.
Okay, but your other hand goes underneath because you have to touch.
I have to stick myself with the needle to know
Right.
it's there.
Right. You have to touch. And so you go down. It's already been started, the knot. You can't put the knot on top and you can't put the knot underneath. It has to be in the middle. So then you go.
Okay, I think the most important thing I need to know here is that if I don't do a good job, it's fixable, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is fixable.
Perfect.
Cool.
Good. We have volunteers. This afternoon we'll have some people that will come and do the quilting. It's a social event.
Yeah, no kidding.
The top was made by a lady, and the society is commissioned to do the quilting, and then we charge for the quilting. So it's a fundraiser for the society. Okay? Probably that next one you'll have to pull it up.
Oh no! Okay.
So it's by practice that you'll get
absolutely.
smaller.
I can tell already that there's some real skill involved.
Well, to make the beautiful
Yay.
These are interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Your
so
turn. Here's your thimble.
Oh, thank you.
It's pre-warmed.
so let's try. So yes, so part of the mission of the society is to keep the old traditions alive. So you'll see in our gift shop. So things are all handmade, and part of it is the quilting. One way to go fast, which might be the way for you,
No kidding.
is to knot them.
Oh, neat.
So by knotting them, so you have your backing, no cotton in the middle, but to knot them, you just make a knot. Now this in a few, we took only a few hours, and the whole quilt, if you take one end, and we finished the whole quilt.
Wow.
So it's not
is
the
worth
little
it.
stitches that you were doing.
Not quite as tedious.
No, it goes faster. Yeah, so this quilt was knotted.
I love the colors and the thread.
Yeah, which is
great.
an old quilt that somebody gave the society, and we knotted that. It's too hard to do just put it in here like this. It's too hard to do the stitching. It's
Very time consuming.
No, not only that, it's tough. It's you in material that was just easy. You were having a hard time going in and out. Can you imagine?
Yeah, heavier material like
Yeah,
that.
can you imagine how much it would take?
No, I cannot.
Yeah. So let's go see in the garden.
Sure.
It's a beautiful day for a garden visit.
So the garden is plants that would be those that were accessible to the Acadians when they first came. Things like, for example, the cabbage. The cabbage grows on land. If you have land that's not that good, you can plant cabbages, and you have that for the animals in the wintertime, or you can put them and store them. Have you ever had gooseberries?
Nope.
Never tasted?
I don't think so.
So they're very picky. So lift a leaf. They are underneath here.
Oh,
You see them?
Oh yeah, the green.
Yeah, they're green. We pick them when they're green. Pick. So do you want to pick two? Eat.
They're like kind of grapish.
So you take out the little woody part, and let's say for the texture, and it's very tart.
Have you ever had a cranberry? Not a cranberry, sorry, a partridge berry?
No,
Because I'm wondering, very tart?
tart, very
Very
tart,
tart, yep.
very tart. Hey.
Oh, whoa.
That's nice.
Yeah. But if you make a jam with that, we made a jam, so you can put it on a cracker.
It's very granny apple, kind of, like that same kind of tartness as
Right.
green
Yeah,
apple.
very
Right.
nice.
So you can have a taste with, of course, there's sugar that was
Sugar
added.
makes everything better.
Yeah. So the gooseberries, you don't have to put pectin in it. It will do and
thank
gel
you.
by itself.
Are we sharing this?
Sure. What do you think?
It's delicious.
It has a different taste.
It's not like the berry at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Wow, it's
Very good.
fantastic. It's quite an abundant wealth they have here.
So everything here would be, for example, your lavender. Your lavender would be for to calm yourself, for your sleep. We do have different things that was for medicinal purposes. The onions you can put on a sore, and it will leach out the pus in your.
Really?
Yeah. So everything here is either for beauty, for food, to replant, or for medicinal value.
My name is Roger D'Entremont, and welcome to the historic Acadian village. Here, you're going to take a walk back in time, back to the early 1900s, and see how the Acadians lived, their daily life of the Acadians. Let's go see what the ladies are doing here today, okay?
Sure, sounds good.
I love the blue trim.
This is La Maison Duon, D-U-O-N. Eventually it morphed into Dayon, like things like that kind of happened back in the day. This kitchen that we're standing in is actually an addition to the primary part that would have started here. The primary part was just a one level, and it was the kitchen and the parlor all together. And you're gonna see that there is a pump organ towards the back wall, and actually that was a fireplace. So your source of cooking and heating would have come from that room. And other than that, you had 4 bedrooms. You had 2 smaller rooms that we call toddler rooms, for the lack of a better word, and then we have 2 master bedrooms. Now we have the hay mattress. You guys want to touch, squeeze, there's hay in there. It's nice and dry. It's been there forever. So this is the box spring. This is the mattress.
And it's just sewed in like 2 sheets.
And it's made, it's made like a giant envelope, and then you would put your hay in, and that's where a good night's sleep tight comes from, because you had to keep your rope tight, and you had a special tool to pull everything to make sure it was really taut. Because if you, like, these are natural fibers, right? So they would keep stretching. So 2 people in a hammock would be uncomfortable, and you'd have a hard time even getting out of the bed if there was 2 of you like that. And the bed bugs were the fleas, the ticks, the whatever was in your hay that came in with your bed. And for me, I think, well, okay, eventually they're gonna die, but I think a lot of times people would fluff up their mattresses and they'd get them all nice and fluffy, and then like a day or night or 2 later, all of a sudden you could feel the rope again, and then you have to add more, and then probably the same process would start over again.
I have the heebie-jeebies so bad right now.
But also tying the knot. Supposedly a married couple before the nuptials had to put their bed together, so that's why they tie the knot.
So what we do here, we build boats. Actually, this is a Shelburne dory. Do you know the difference between a Shelburne dory and a Bridgewater dory?
Is it the color?
I believe
No,
what they told us was that one floats.
No, there's one main, there are more than one, but the main difference between the Lunenburg dory and the Shelburne is the knee here. If you look right here, that's in 2 pieces.
Oh yes, that's
Gotcha.
right.
Lunenburg is only 1 piece. And Hubert Dion, our boat builder here, is going to talk to us about a unique Pubnico style boat.
We are building this punt, which my dad's cousin up the road here used to build, and he was building probably 1 a week, 1 every 10 days. I will explain to you about the knees if you...
Is it like knees?
Like knees, yes, like knees. Okay. So a knee is a piece of wood that I had to go in the forest and get, and this is the trunk of the tree and the root of the tree.
Wow, so very specific piece of wood.
Very specific piece of wood, very strong, because the grain takes a curve like this, and it will not split like if it was cut out of a straight grain piece of wood. It was common in boat construction of the day, and the Vikings used them too.
So Alicia's actually working on a gill net, which normally could have been more of the fisherman himself making the net in a winter weather storm in the shanty. But nothing says that family members can't be here helping you. So her first day, and she already knows how to make the monkey's fist, and she already knows she's working on the gill net. So before starting a gill net, you have to know what size of fish you're trying to catch, because it's very important to have the right size of mesh. Because this net will actually float in the water like a wall.
How long have you been doing this?
I'm a fisherman.
Just
Yeah,
grew up with it.
I don't have blood in my veins, it's salt water.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So a lot of, I mean, nobody makes these by hand. They're all manufactured modern materials today. But any fisherman who's a twine man, if you can repair nets, if you wish, can make this. It's harder to repair nets, more complicated than making. It's just, this is so time consuming. I mean, 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's a significant investment.
Incredible amount of labor.
Yeah, today, Vernon Dion, 220 bucks, cha-ching, nets there, and you go home, whatever.
Look at the sights. Holy smokes.
So this is a wagon wheel, the wooden part, of course. These are the felloes, the part that makes the circle here, and then we have the spokes. But you have to make the hub also. Hub's made of wood. But inside the hub, we put a metal, we call it a bushing then. It's called a boxing, but actually it's a bushing. And on the axle of the cart, there's also a piece of metal there, so it doesn't rub wood on wood, right?
I like that you have them numbered.
Yeah, the reason I have them all numbered is when I fit this piece here, let's say this is a piece that's for a buggy wheel, the same principle except it's much smaller, so there's no holes in it or anything. So the reason I number all the spokes is when I put this in place, like this, I have to make a little mark there, a little mark there. So if I happen to put this down, I write a number on this one also. So I happen to put this down, and if I pick it up wrong, it's not going to fit.
Makes sense.
That's why I keep numbering. These metal parts were heated on also. Same way, except it didn't need the big fire. We could do this in the forge next door here. So the blacksmith and the wheelwright would work hand in hand in making, in these little villages. But in cities and stuff, often the wheelwright had a blacksmith on hand. Around here, you go see the blacksmith.
How long would it take, you think, to create like one wagon wheel, or I guess you did multiple at a time, but how long would the process go start to finish, roughly?
A week, probably. A week or so. But what they used to do, they used to get ready ahead of time. The wheelwright would make a bunch of things. This week he'd work on spokes, and next week he'd make the hubs. But he wouldn't make just a few. He'd get set up for what then he'd put the wheels together.
Well, it's definitely worth visiting to get the Acadian perspective on different ways of life.
I don't think I could even pick a favorite thing. Like, this experience especially has been incredible, but everyone we've been so fortunate enough to meet has been so passionate about their history and sharing their way of life with you.
And their community. The community spirit has been, I don't know, breathtaking, really. It's pretty incredible to experience.
It's awe-inspiring. And the scenery here, it's just incredible. Like, this is by far one of my favorite places. I'm so glad we came here.
First time in Pubnico, but not the last.
Absolutely not. Especially when they keep doing fundraising socials around fruit. Like, this is the strawberry social, there's a rhubarb social, and a blueberry social.
Let's have a cookie.
Absolutely. Cheers. Oh my God. So good.
Which one is that? Hand quilted or machine quilted?
I'm going with machine.
Yes.
It's the really tight knit.
Right.
Now that I've seen us do it and the consistency of it, there's no way. This is hand quilted.
Yeah, that's hand quilted. You can come on this side and see like all those little squares that you did.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see the difference.